Hey, Magic Makers, welcome to another episode of this Friday show that I still haven't come up with a name for it. So if any of you out there are the creative persuasion, holla at your girl. So I was actually having a conversation on another podcast, and we were talking about, what my strengths are as a coach. And I said, yeah, sure, I can help you lose weight. One of the strengths that I have as a coach is really for helping you find your magic. And, that is why this podcast is called Fit Girl Magic. It was probably 3-ish years ago. I was attending an event and there was a woman sitting on stage and she said that many people look at successful people and they think that they have magic, right? That there's something within that successful person that you can't possess, that they just have this like je ne sais quoi about them. And I was like, you know what? That same thing applies to fit people, healthy people. People will look at someone who has great fitness habits, it's a great healthy routine. And they're like, you know what? That's for them. I can't do it. They are some magical being. And they're, AKA, this is how I came up with the Fit Girl Magic Show, because we think fitness people or getting healthy, we are going to find some like magic beans out there, and that's how we're going to be healthy. And here's the thing. Yes, they are genetically gifted people out there. Trust me. I've been in the fitness space for a really long time. I've seen them. However, I don't believe that that's the case. I believe there is a healthy and fit person inside of everyone. What we need to do is uncover our magic. And what happens is that we fall down this habit of finding things that aren't realistic for us. It's not our season. And, I've talked a lot about seasons, and it's that, we have seasons where we're just really busy. I have a client, she is an accountant, and tax season is not a time for her to do something crazy, right? It's just not a time for her to even try to do something crazy, because she's like, I'm so busy trying to get people's taxes in so they don't have to pay late fees. I have another client, her son is a very elite athlete. And so she's driving all over the state of Connecticut, getting him here, there, and everywhere for all of these different events that he's doing. So it's that, certain seasons are not a time for her to start new things. And so what I feel is that we all fall into the habit of telling ourselves that this is how it has to look. And we don't ever take a step back and say, is that realistic for me right now? Can I take this on right now in this particular time? Maybe 3 months from now I can take it on, and that's okay. But what can I take on right now that feels realistic for me, that I can get excited about, that I can really make a plan, right? Many of us lack the ability to make a plan. It has to literally, I put in my workouts in my calendar. It's the only way that I know it's going to get done. It's the only way that I block out time for me. And, I see it all the time. A lot of my clients will block out time for any Tom, Dick, or Harry on the planet, but they won't block out time for them. Or their time isn't as valuable as someone else's time. So maybe I did block out that I'm going to work out at 5:30 tonight. And, boom, someone says this is due or that's due, and we can't prioritize ourselves, or maybe we can't push back. And trust me, I get it. Sometimes like we do have those emergencies. Yeah, we absolutely do. But we also have to decide what is a self-imposed emergency versus what is a true emergency. And if these last minute emergencies always pop up, do we have a strategy to work around it, or do we always continually to blow ourselves off? Because when I talk about, when we look at healthy and fit people, they have a way to figure out a way to prioritize themselves. They make it a habit to prioritize themselves. And maybe that habit might be it's 30 minutes in the day. That's okay, right? It doesn't have to be a specific time. It has to work for your life. It has to be realistic. That's part of the Fit Girl Magic formula. The Fit Girl Magic formula is we need great habits. Those habits turn into routines. Those routines turn into consistency. And it's consistency that gets us the results, right? We think it's and the consistency is more than a 30-day clip. I love these like 30-day challenges. I'm going to do squats for 30 days. Okay, what happens on day 31? Are you going to do more squats? Do those squats start to instill that a consistent pattern for you? Because if it does, great. But I want you to really think about, it is, how do I start a habit? And so many of us, like, our habit is starting these number of habits. Like, it has to be this. I got to start eating better. I got to go to the grocery store. I got to meal prep. I got to work out. I got to sleep. I got to. Right. And so then it's like so hard to like be perfect at all of them, because of course we want to just nail it, everything. We need to get an A+, a gold star for it. And so one of the things I challenge my clients is like, let's scale that back, right? We only have 4 burners in our world, right? If unless you're one of those people who have this like giant, like huge, like Martha Stewart-y type kitchen, rock on with your bad self. Let's talk about us mere mortals, right? Who are like, we just cooked enough food so that we don't starve. All right. So we got 4 burners. And if you've ever cooked, say, like a big meal, we all know that every burner can't be on high. So we need to pick, 4 things. One's going to be on high, one's on medium high, one's on medium, and one's on low. Right. And we have to decide where we are. And those things can shift and move as we go through, but everything can't be a priority. It just is too much in your brain to make everything a priority. So I always challenge my clients, I'm like, pick 1 to 3 things that you're going to focus on. And these 1 to 3 things, I call them like, I read the book, The One Thing, and it's just a game changer for me. And it helped me to like break free of trying to do 5 million things at once. I was that girl. And so I tell my clients, pick 1 to 3 things that you feel that you can do forever, right? And you're not going to nail it. It's an experiment, because, we get caught up in these like rigid mindsets that this is how it has to look. This is how it has to be. And if it's not like this, and I'm not struggling and it's not hard, then it sucks. No, sorry, no. So we start to create these habits. And so it's 1 to 3 things. And, I call them my non-negotiables, right? These are my 1 to 3 things that I know that I'm going to attempt when I start. I'm going to attempt to do them day in and day out. And I know that when I do them, I'm going to feel healthy. So it can be, I always challenge my clients. It's not something that you're already doing. If you're already exercising and you're already eating cleanly, that's not a non-negotiable. You're already doing it. It is helping you to start to create new habits here. So here are the 6 areas that I like to kind of guide my clients into picking. I don't pick the goal for them, because if you don't pick the goal, you're not connected. And so many of you are talking about, oh, I'm not motivated. You're not motivated because you don't have any buy-in to the goal. All right. So to get motivated, right? Motivation, if you've heard me from multiple times, I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Motivation isn't going to ring your doorbell and say, hey girl, get in the car, we're going. No, motivation is an inside job. Motivation is you connecting to what I call your why. Why in the heck do you want this goal? Because it's your why that'll allow you to ask better questions when you have those I don't wanna days. And you are always going to have those I don't want to days. I have I don't want to days, right? You're always going to have the I don't want to days. Not every person jumps out of bed and it's like, whoop, whoop, let's do it. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. Even the most fittest person on the planet has days that you're just like, yeah, today in a day. And maybe it's not that we don't work out. Maybe that workout looks different, because I know for me, like some days I'm like, you know what? I was scheduled to do a lift and I ain't feeling that lift. So sometimes it's me foam rolling, doing some mobility work, going for a walk, right? But I honored my commitment to myself that I told myself I was going to move. All right. So that's how I get into the habit, right? Creating these non-negotiables. And here are the 6 areas. I digress it. The 6 areas: sleep, stress, self-care, nutrition, mindset, exercise. Those are the 6 areas those are the dial movers, right? So many people will be focused in on the bullshit that doesn't move the dial. I want you to be focused on things that I know that if you focus on these 6 things, that's going to be a snowball. Have you ever seen like a Ferris wheel, right? There used to be this toy. I don't know if they still make it, but it was like, it looked like a Ferris wheel, and you would pour water in it and then the bucket would get full. and then it would pour into the next bucket, and that bucket would get full, then it would pour into the next bucket, so on and so forth. That's what these 6 things are, right? Because if I get my mindset right and I fill that bucket up, then it's going to lead to, oh, I told myself that it has to be hard, but you know what? I told myself, you know what? It doesn't have to be hard. Great. So now that I've told myself that it doesn't have to be hard, that might lead to me eating better, because I'm like, you know what? Something's better than nothing. Then I lead into, oh, well, I feel better because I'm eating better. So maybe I want to move more, right? So it's just like this like little domino that's kind of like moving around, and it's one thing that leads to another thing that leads to another thing, right? So it's not this like, so many of us think it's this cataclysmic thing that like all of a sudden, like, all the stars are going to align. That's a fairy tale, my queens. That is a fairy tale, and that don't happen in real life. I really wish I could tell you that, but it doesn't happen like that. So what I want you to think about is like, okay, what are some of the habits that I want to start to build, and keep them simple? Those habits are going to build into a routine. That routine is going to build into consistency, and that consistency is where you're going to see your results. So during COVID, my husband was like, I overheard him talking to a friend. He's like, oh, how are you guys doing? And this is during like the peak COVID, when we're all like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, what's really interesting? He goes, my wife, she gets up and she like goes downstairs, she works out, and she just does it. Because that was my habit. I worked out in the morning. Now I had to shift what I did, right? I used to go to the gym, but the gyms are closed. I had to shift what I did to go to the gym, but it was like, every, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I worked out. So I had to change what the workout was, but it was part of my habit. It's what I did. I didn't have to recreate the wheel. Did it always start out that way? No. And my bare minimum is I move my body at least 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes or more, right? That's my burner. That's my workout burner. And so that's how I was able to just build the consistency. And now it's just like, it's what I do. It's on blast. And because of that, I'm keeping my results, right? So I want you to start thinking about to yourself, what habits are you trying to build? Because that's where you're going to get your routines. And many of us, we try to build too many habits at the same time. And I get it, like, right, we think we can leap tall buildings in a single bound. I know, me too. I want to leap tall buildings in a single bound. But what I learned to do was I had to scale it back in order to move forward, right? So I had to take 3 steps back, do it at a pace slower than I wanted to, in order to really move myself forward. And this has been the basis of how I've been able to get my results and keep my results. And so for the last 3 summers, I've been doing this same process with hundreds of women, and I call it the stress-free summer. And I think summer is the perfect time. Actually, I know summer is the perfect time for many women because it's light out. It's lighter out. You feel more motivated. It's warm out. I don't know about you, but like the sun is my best friend. I just feel so much more invigorated, energized. And so I started this program called Stress-Free Summer. And what it is, over 66 days, I provide you with accountability, but also structure, so that we have different levels that you can enter in. We have, the slow lane, we have the middle lane, and we have the fast lane. And you decide what pace you're going to take. And you have different activities that you're going to do day in and day out, week in and week out, over the course of 66 days. The goal here is to create strong habits. And after the end of 66 days, you've now created yourself a routine that you've created that's realistic for you, you feel excited about, you can make a plan for in your life, and it's ultimately sustainable. And so that I can literally repeat these 66 days. And every time I feel like I've created my Fit Girl magic, I can add on to this 66 days, right? Because it's already something I'm doing. For me, I'm already working out anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So that's not something I would add to my list. So I would add something else. So right now, one of the things I'm adding to my list, I want to read more books. So that's on my list, and I'm taking it slow. I started with, I'm going to read 10 pages. Well, that was too much for me. So now I've boiled it down all the way down to like, I'm going to read for 10 minutes, right? I can do anything for 10 flippant minutes. So I want you to start thinking about, like, if you had 66 days and it was guided, what could you do? what could you accomplish in 66 days? And so if that sounds interest for you, my wait list is building for this. This doesn't start until June, but my wait list for this is building. And if you want to, hop on the wait list and see what this is all about, and maybe this is the summer that you can like finally say, you know what, I built some flipping strong habits, then great, hop on. If, you guys always know how to find me. You can always find me on the socials if you have any more questions about this. But the big thing is, like, we all have magic inside of us, right? You have your magic. It's about building habits, creating routines that lead to consistency, that lead to results. And many of us have the habit of going big. How about this is the year that we go small? We go small and we keep it all. All right, friends, have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you next week.